Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about a pretty sad but honestly expected development in the entire YouTube content creation industry. Obviously, with the rise of artificial intelligence over the last couple of years, we all kind of knew this was coming, but it is still pretty surreal in a way to actually see examples starting to play out in real life of things like this happening here. So traditionally here on YouTube, the entire draw to the website for both content creators and viewers alike has been the fact that you can create content on this platform that is personable and it can be enjoyed and looked at favorably by even millions of other like-minded people, right? You get to, as the first tagline of YouTube describes, broadcast yourself. I almost said express yourself, like this is some sort of NWA cut, but that was the whole point of YouTube. Obviously, over the years, it's become a lot more corporatized. We've seen a lot more divide in the whole like creator product whole sphere, but ultimately this is something that I think a lot of us really didn't want to happen. But there are now entire YouTube channels that are being ran, they're being built entirely on the back of AI. Now usually I kind of just look over issues like this and gloss over them because a lot of the channels that are doing this are YouTube Shorts exclusive, and to me that's almost like a separate platform to actual YouTube, right? It's a different type of video, it's meant to be way faster paced, you know, enjoyed in like bite-sized little formats or whatever. But to see actual YouTube channels that are supposedly crafting their own videos, putting in that work, right, you know, just making this content happen, to see them basically becoming like AI robot shells of what they were, it's a pretty insane development, okay? So we're gonna be taking a look at a story here of a true crime YouTube channel that basically got taken down by YouTube itself because of the shit that it was making as content with AI. So we're not talking about like using AI as a tool here either to like make the video better or enhance something or to help you achieve a goal as like part of a moving project. We're talking about AI literally from start to finish. Everything is AI generated, basically no personality to the content at all kind of shit. So the creator of a true crime YouTube channel is now using the pseudonym Paul after a viewer outed him to the police for creating fake news and alleging it was true. Though the YouTuber reportedly pulled millions of views for his crime stories, his channel was deactivated after reporter Elizabeth Hernandez was tipped off by several viewers about a crime in Littleton, Colorado. However, the story, quote, husband's secret gay love affair with stepson ends in grisly murder, was completely fake and made by Paul using both ChatGPT and AI imagery. Hernandez soon contacted the police about the YouTuber's many videos in which he tried to pass off fake news as real by using AI. So if you're confused on what like basically was happening here, right? So this guy has a YouTube channel where he's promoting like all of the videos as being true crime stories. I'm sure many of you, I have basically like watched these channels before. They like basically give you the facts of the story and like go through the entire thing, and it's like, oh, this is the whole lead up to them being arrested and found, right? It's like a mystery kind of thing. But basically whoever was behind this channel was like so lazy or whatever, they couldn't even find real true crime stories. They couldn't find like videos to make about real serial killers or like murder mysteries. They had to go to ChatGPT and were basically there like, create a story in the true crime genre about some murder mystery, and then they were just taking whatever the AI ChatGPT wrote and basically made that their script. So my view of AI on your channel, it really depends, right? Because there's a lot of creators who they just use AI tools, for instance, to sharpen up blurry thumbnails or to help with certain elements, right? I personally don't really have a problem with that because you're using a tool as a means to an end, but this is essentially just being creatively bankrupt. You're incapable of even using the real situations that are there for you to make the videos about, and instead you're just making shit up, basically having a computer write the script for you. So this is a channel where the entire concept of the video you're watching is a fake AI generated, you know, script. Then all of the imagery in the video in the actual YouTube video is AI imagery that was created, you know, by whatever ChatGPT, Midjourney, whatever the hell they were using to generate this stuff. And then you're passing these things off off as true crime. Now, obviously in the phrase true crime, the word true really kind of rings there, and there's a reason why. Because people, when they look for these kinds of things, they're looking for situations that have actually happened, because that's what makes the story intriguing, you know? Oh, this may have happened in your neighborhood, right? 30 years ago, a serial killer in your town, like things like that. Now, obviously, a lot of people think this shit is morbid, they don't want to watch it, but that's the whole point of this YouTube channel, is for people to actually learn like intriguing real stories that are true crime. So it goes against the entire concept of what you're doing to use AI to fake these kinds of situations. Now, the problem is this is only becoming more and more common on YouTube, to the point where I think in a few years, a pretty good portion of the creators on this website will probably just be AI chat robots that are essentially writing all of the scripts, doing all of the video, right? And I don't love that personally, because obviously, I mean, I've used YouTube the majority of its history. I've uploaded on this platform the majority of its history. And for me, I've done this so long that I feel like I've gotten a pretty good idea of what YouTube is, what it's all about, right? Now, for me, after this will be my 13th year on this channel uploading videos, and the way that it stays fresh to me is the fact that not necessarily it's the things I'm talking about or like the topics itself, but it's the fact that every day I get the opportunity to express my opinion and just talk and level with people, and that people out there, they hear me and they hear, oh, this is a genuine person, this is his take or whatever, right? This is him playing the game in the background. That's the whole fun of it to me, is the fact that this outlet is essentially just an extension of me. It's not a fucking computer, it's not a robot, it's not ChatGPT. Now, the difference is, I think a lot of people now, the reason that they start YouTube is so fundamentally different. Back when I was a kid and I started doing YouTube, the whole point was it was like a creative outlet to express yourself. It was a platform to express how you feel, what you think, your fun, right? Now, obviously, so many people are making money and there's all these millionaires and everything that are coming out of YouTube and content creation. People no longer see it as an avenue to be creative or to express or broadcast themselves. They see it as a get-rich-quick scheme that they can basically take advantage of, and then they can just make money for doing nothing, bro. I mean, I can just get the ChatGPT to do it for me. So apparently this was reported to the police. I don't know the legality of like making up fake true crime stories. I have to assume that there's not going to be any criminal charges or any legal problems that really arise from this. I don't think it's against the law, especially since this is happening here in the United States, but I don't know, I might be wrong. I may be wrong on that, but following the deactivation of his YouTube channel, Paul told 404 Media that his main intention in creating fake true crime news was to make viewers question why they were so interested in such lewd acts. Quote, I'm trying to overdose the viewer on luridness to try and confront them with the fact they seem to be so invested in the luridness of it all. People's secret lives, their secret affairs, it's all really taboo. Quote, it needs to be called true crime because true crime is a genre. I wanted the audience to think about why they care so much that it was true, why it matters so much to them that real people are being murdered. Paul was initially influenced to create his true crime content after watching Dateline and realizing how much interest there was in the genre. Now, honestly, I think this is an entire, like, big cope lie right here. I think this is just bullshit. First and foremost, you're not trying to overdose the viewer on luridness because you want them to reconsider why they like true crime. You watched Dateline, you saw that it was popular, you realized there was money to be made, views to be gained, clout to obtain, and you created a channel around doing that. But instead of actually putting in the work to do it yourself, edit your own videos, do all that right, you just went to ChatGPT and did it the easy way. And it's fine, that's what you did, and that's okay or whatever, but there's no need to lie and pretend like this was some sort of psyop or experiment to make people reconsider why they like murder mysteries. The reason why people like murder mysteries is quite fucking simple. People like adrenaline rushes and the concept of hearing stories about serial killers, murderers, things like that. It provides an adrenaline rush. The story is entertaining to certain people. It's not rocket science, and you're not going to make these people reconsider anything. The only thing that this served to do was to basically play on the niche and make money off of it. And I think he should have just said that, because everyone realizes that. It's not like anyone believes this hoopla about, oh, I wanted you to think. I wanted you to think about why I was using AI. That has nothing to do with it. And if that was really like your whole intention or whatever, you wouldn't change your pseudonym and all this other shit, because, I mean, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal. Now, like I said, YouTube ended up taking this channel down, but not really for the reason you would think. It's not that they took it down because it's like an AI-driven channel that's just producing basically AI content, right? They took it down for a different reason according to their guidelines here. So when asked why his channel was deactivated, Jack Mallon, a YouTube representative, said, quote, "We terminated the channel in question for multiple violations of our community guidelines, including our policies covering child safety that prohibit this sexualization of minors." Though Paul was forced to step away from sharing his AI-generated crime stories, AI continues to take over the media industry. Now, the problem is, like I said, this will continue to become a thing where more and more channels basically co-opt this. We saw, like, I've covered this on the channel, Kwebbelkop used to be one of the biggest gaming channels on YouTube, used to be the guy, basically, like a decade ago, right? When now all of his videos are AI-generated, it's an AI version of him doing an AI commentary, face cam, AI gameplay, all of it is just AI shit. And as a result, it struggles to get a couple thousand views a lot of the time because nobody is coming to YouTube to watch AI content for the most part, at least not yet. Like I said, it's going to inevitably become normalized to the point where people are just watching this shit and accepting it. But as of right now, we're not at that point, and I'm not at that point either. Like, trust me, it would be so fucking easy every day for me to come on here with an AI voice, make up AI stories, and just print cash off of my viewership, but that's really not what it's about to me when I can just make money making content and actually creatively fulfilling myself, right? So YouTube ended up taking this down for community guidelines violations about sexualizing minors. I mean, from the fucking title of the supposed video, you know, the whole like husband's secret gay love affair with stepson ends in grisly murder. It's like, that's some pretty weird shit to be like going to ChatGPT with. Personally, I want to see the prompt that you put into ChatGPT to make it say that. I would be really intrigued really to see what that was that you typed out on your computer to make ChatGPT put that out. But this is something that is going to continue to swarm YouTube unless people stand up to it. Even then, I don't really know if that'll stop it because there's just so much that you can do with the AI in terms of like content creation. It's not just true crime. You can make shorts. You can make really any kind of video you want with AI. But I really hope and I wish that this wasn't the case in terms of it going to become the norm with this platform. But like I said, that's the direction we're going. I don't really see that turning around anytime soon. So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about this AI true crime slop and signing out.
For my real niggas only. Yeah. Real spit. Real spit. Yo. Feeling like $1,000,000, still ain't made $1 million, but still don't give a fuck, and probably never will. Ills from the bottom, so when I started getting up, told myself that I would make my money in the ceiling touch. And for a will, want gas, I'll fill her up. So if you ain't feeling, son, you dead or you sniffing dust. Plus the double XL got me pissed enough to battle faggots for they contracts when they rip them up. Kick your ass out the game. If your flow ain't as cold as your chain, then don't spit. Cause we heard you over and over again. How you that rapper who fuck hella dames? No shit, that's elementary. Head spinning like the Kid Capri. How most of y'all my elders but still sound like kids to me. Same song, different beat, same blog, different link. If this how shit is finna be, I might go back to flipping tree. MCs who disagree, please start dissing me. I'm never scared to hit the street. Fade long, kicking heat. And my bars hard enough to make a biter chip his teeth. Not to mention my rhyme pad dipped in ink. nigga. Real spit. Huh? Real spit. Huh? Real spit. Real spit, nigga.
Good evening, well, good afternoon, depending on what time you're watching it. Now, I did pay attention to the comment section. There's so much that I need to do, but the boy is so behind, I'm just like, I don't even know where to start. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this mic on and we're gonna have some low tip. You know what? This is low tier dialogue, but on this one, this is one of them 50-50 times. You know how there's a bit of them weird times when he be saying stuff that makes sense versus more making sense than crazy? We gonna have one of those today. Let's go ahead and get it started.
When the Jake Paul fight got rescheduled, he had 8 blood transfusions, lost half his blood, lost 25 pounds in the hospital.
And then he was tripping on Mike Tyson for the reschedule. If I'm mistaken, I believe he was like that he was causing issues because he had promised this fight and all that. Man, this man over here don't he about to be out of there.
Yeah, exactly. We were watching it. He got shouted out by Dana White at Trump's celebration. Yes, seen that. I don't know. How do you even have the passion for streaming anymore? You've like reached those lengths of being like to the point where you have a direct connection to the president of the United States.
Shoot, it's a love of the grind. Some people just do it because they like to do it. Like, you ever seen them little stores, them little corner stores, and maybe they're 20, 30, 40 something years? Same thing as Asman. He was like, if I'm capable of streaming for the next 30 to 50 years, I'm gonna still do it. It don't matter. It's because it's in you. If it's truly what you want to do, you gonna do it. It's just what you like to do versus something else. And to be honest, it don't get much bigger than that. When you got direct influence and you having a back and forth with Elon Musk over the gaming, I think it was the Path of Exile, when you having a conversation about did you really get this level with one of the people who are in the administrative office and all that, and own the platform. It's like you wake your ass up tomorrow and do the same thing like nothing changed. What happens is a lot of people get caught up in their egos when they do these things, and that's when they lose themselves. But if you truly doing what you like to do, it doesn't matter who you be, it doesn't matter what you do. Same thing with Corey Kenshin. If he wake up one day and like, I just don't feel like doing it, he just doesn't do it, and he just comes back when he feels like it. It's that simple.
Like, at this point, I'm 8 and I'm on some Dave Portnoy. Like, I probably ain't streaming again. You feel me? Like, I'm just on to some different.
Now, that's one thing I give him. He is kind of right about that, where if there's anything that you generally actually want to do, that you can branch off and do it. Because when you got the money like that, if you want to make a video game, whatever it is, Because me personally, if I had aided money or just stupid money, I would be making my own games. I'd be out getting devs, the best of the best devs, and doing what I wanted to do. Now, but I stopped posting? No. Like, I'm gonna go get it. That's what I do because I like to post. Same thing with Aiden. He likes to stream. So if it's something that you like to do, you're gonna do it. It ain't even just about the money or even what you've accomplished. Because once you've accomplished something or you feel like you've maxed out, there's always something else you can do. Now, in your mind, you may feel as if there's nothing bigger you can do, but that ain't always what life is about. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, shout out to TLC, you're chasing waterfalls. Like, what you gotta do, just gotta bring peace within you, and everybody got a different piece, you know what I'm saying?
Extreme Y. So it says, Jake Paul's recent boxing opponent's current age is beating retired NBA player Nate Robinson at 40. Some years ago, did it. Beat and retired MMA fighter Ben Askren, 40. Beat retired MMA fighter Tyron Woodley, 42. Beat retired MMA fighter Anderson Silva, 49. Lost to boxer Tommy Fury, 25. Beat semi-retired MMA fighter Nate Diaz.
So let me get this straight. The only person he lost to was a person his age or near his age. That's crazy. But yet fighting everybody in their late 30s and 40s and 50s. That's wild.
39. Beat semi-retired Mike Tyson, 58. Hold on, what was that black nigga that he beat? They left somebody out. It was that NPC black guy he fought. I didn't watch that fight. Yeah, it was some random black. Yeah, Nate was his first, like, one of his first real boxing fights with no headgear. I mean, at this point, I don't think I'll be watching a Jake Paul fight again unless we get a real, actual boxer that has somewhat of a decorated career, a known name. Like, let's just say if he's fighting like Caleb Plant or like some, you know, somebody real, like, you know, Ngannou.
Well, that's because Jake Paul's not a real boxer, and as we can see, the one who was closer to his age, he lost to. Jake Paul ain't getting in the ring for no real fights. He ain't trying to have no real fights. We already know what's gonna happen in a real fight with a real boxer. Even the most lowest tier of boxers will knock him out. Like, even the most lowest rank will beat him up. It's like, there's no question to ask. Like, yeah, it's cool. You got the training, the endurance. That's cool. But as far as boxing somebody who's known in the boxing world, is something completely different from boxing people who are near retirement or 15, 20 years older than you, or they from the NBA. That's not the same. Like, those are not even in the same realm of being the same field. Like, his matches are nothing more than a parlay. Like, all his matches are a parlay. Nothing more, nothing less. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna go ahead and move forward and go on to the next segment.
Be a little, standoffish or, well, okay, we're filming here, move right along.
And if you're wondering what this is referring to, of course, the links are always in the description. It's an interview, and when it comes to interviews, I do tread lightly with, how much I put there. Just put enough to put in context. Now, what he's referring to is Pac, how he was on set and everything else, and how he dealt with people from the community and with his authenticity, and why he was loved so much and why people had so much love for him is because no matter what, no matter who you were, he still treated his community like his community, and he didn't let outsiders come in and change how he acted.
Pac, like, hold up, wait. Come here, you all right? Come here, little man. What you trying to see these cameras?
And also, as far as that goes, is it unprofessional? Yeah. Is that the best way to handle business? No. But at the same time, they're not paying everybody there, nor are they paying homage to where they're shooting those things at. So if they need to shift around and respect the culture, that's no different from when you come into their house having to respect their culture. If they say, I don't want this around where I'm at, that's cool. Well, this is where you're shooting at, and this is where you're about to make your money at. So you need to respect where you at. And if it's inconvenient to you, well, then stop milking something of a community you don't belong in. And what you could do, to fix that situation, you could let them know, like, hey, we can always hold like a party after. We could throw a party for the neighborhood or whatever, have some fun. But let's go ahead and, get the business out the way, because we got to pay all these people, and then we could, have a little party afterwards. But that's the best way to handle it. And then, anything else, let's just take care of this part first, because we are on the clock. that's a good way to handle it. And I like to approach it from both ways. Because on one end, yes, it is business, but there's also a cost to doing that. So if you go, say for example, you go somewhere where it's more prestigious and they move a certain way, you're gonna have to move how they move. It just is what it is, and it's gonna be inconvenient for you. It won't be pleasant for you. You know, you're gonna have to deal with the banter, the conversation you don't like. You're gonna have to talk to people you don't like. Go to these parties with people you don't like. You see what I'm saying? So both ways, you have to deal with that. But sometimes people get the misconception that they don't have to deal with that the other way. They feel like you should have to deal with that on their side, but not the other way. And I'm saying this both ways. So I'm not just saying this for the hood side or just for the suburb or rich side, whatever. I'm saying it both ways because it doesn't matter which side is the opposite side. Both people feel as if you need to pay them extra homage, extra respect for them to accept what you got going on their time. And both people disrespect both people's time off of their own conditions. And this is what I say, if somebody were to have him go somewhere for a meeting and waste his time, have him sitting around, have him not automatically making moves, doing what he's trying to do right away, he'd have a problem with that. You get what I'm saying? Because you need them for whatever money you're trying to make. But what people think in their mind, it's all good as long as I'm not the one affected. Does that make sense? So again, I'm the middle guy. I'm the voice of reason. So it's like, I get where you're coming from, but I also get where they're coming from. And in my opinion, professionalism is always best. It's like, I get what you're saying. And then you got to make a decision and you got to make a choice. Either you're going to be the city boy, no pun intended, not that kind of city boy. Either you're going to be the city boy or the street person, or you're going to be the business person. But there's no way to be both. Because when you handle business, you got to handle business a certain type of way. And sometimes professionalism can be seen as cold, rough, or harsh. But when it's on your dollar, it is costing you money. You would have a problem with it. But when it doesn't cost you the money, it's all good. Hence, socialism. Now, let's discuss when this happened to Pac, right? When he would go in the studio with Dre, he had a huge complaint that Dre was always playing around, doing what he was doing and never handling business, wasting his time. This is what he said. Well, the culture of Dre and how Dre moves, it may not be conducive to you coming in there, boom, 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 handling business. You see what I'm saying? So it became a conflict and an issue to where you even went as far as to diss him or have that in a diss when you dissed him about him not handling business. But on the other end, you're interrupting a set where they're shooting a movie, paying all these people. And I'm here to say this, like, I'm not here to, talk down on his name or speak ill about the man. But what I'm here to say is untouchables, they need to be held accountable as well. Because it comes a point in time because who you are, people can say nothing about you, or people can't say that you do wrong or you can't do wrong. You get what I'm saying? But what I like to do is just give a perspective to say, I see where you're coming from as far as the love out here. But you need to understand is you're not coming out of your pocket paying all these people. You get it? So there's two sides of this coin. And I think once people have a general understanding of both sides, a whole lot will be better. But hey, that's in a perfect world. That's not how things work. But let's go ahead and move forward.
And his attitude, like, no, now, PA, you gotta wait.
And again, like I say, I completely understand where you're coming from. But when we put it into this perspective of this, let's say there's always a new kid. If there's always a new single mom. If there's always a new person on the corner that needs $5, you're never going to get your work done. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we showed up here for. This is not what we met for. We meant to get a job done. We didn't meet for this. Okay, we didn't pay all this money to do this right now. You can do this as soon as this is done, but not right now.
Come here, little man. Now you get out the way.
And what happens when that keeps happening because people don't understand limits? Because people gonna keep doing it. Oh snap, we can go over there and kick it with them. And then what happens when you just have a whole bunch of people on set and then nothing ever gets done? Are you gonna be the one to pay that? It's like, okay, cool, but are you going to pay that? Are you gonna pay it when you don't meet that deadline? Are you gonna pay those investors when they're waiting on their money?
You know what I'm saying? That's his attitude, because it's like, y'all ain't from here. Majority of the people that's working on the set, they ain't from here.
Yes, They are not from there. But once you agree to do a job, you sign a contract, or you say you're gonna produce something or produce a certain level of work, you don't get to go into McDonald's and be making cheeseburgers and be like, hold on, that's my homie, or I know these people, so now I'm not gonna take orders, or I'm not gonna be the cashier. That's not how that works. Or I'm not gonna sweep the floors because the hood and came in. That's not how that works. Business. Y'all are getting, regardless, you agreed to do it and you're getting paid for it. So you need to handle your job in a professional manner. Yes, you got a name, but at the same time, you're getting paid for a job. Now, let's go ahead and move forward.
I wrote country.
Okay.
But we ain't
So you write country grammar,
right.
and you write it for Ali. Okay. So why did you write him a record, and why not just do it yourself?
See, what happened was, I was
See, the reality is a lot of people don't have a discussion, but that definitely matters. Now, people can say, nah, you just got to do that. Milli Vanilli didn't write the music. Heck, they didn't even perform the music. Somebody else did, and they were just lip syncing it. A lot of people don't write their music. A lot of the most famous celebrities don't write their music. Aubrey Graham wasn't writing his music. And as you can see, it was all about the appeal. Because maybe at first he was, but later on he wasn't. And if Country Grammar would have came out and he was the face of Country Grammar, it would have changed the course of history because it would have never came out. So like, there would have been no Nelly, there wouldn't have been no Kelly Rowland collab, none of that stuff would have ever happened. Bruh, even the I Am #1, the Hot in Here, like, come on, man. None of these tracks would have hit like that. Now, I know they didn't say he wrote those, but I'm just saying, to put into perspective, his breakout joint was the Country Grammar. So if all of this was flipped around, could you imagine this dude being the face of any of them songs? Yeah, man, that wouldn't happen, bro. It wouldn't, and a lot of people be in denial. A lot of people want to be in denial and say, nah, that's not the case. But people want to say appeal does not sell. Come on, man. Who we fooling? It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Appeal sells. Sex sells. Always has, always will. Let's just keep it real.
right. They needed somebody light skinned. That was Jermaine Dupri said. He said, nah, he too ugly. So he's like, use Nelly. That's what I'm on. So they used Nelly. And he had the good voice. My voice really wasn't good. Right? So it was kind of like a thing. Nelly go first. He's supposed to bring us up. You know that the Ticks came next.
Now, this guy I've never heard of, but there's a lot of situations like this to where this does happen. So, I mean, I believe him. I ain't saying that it's 100% true, but I do believe this happened because this literally sounds like a conversation that was had. And the thing is about the greater times when people were able to be honest and people weren't always saying, oh, you hating, you hating, you hating. You just charge to the game, get better and accept it and play your part. But there's a lot of conflict these days where people feel as if they want to step out of position and not play their part. Well, that's why you keep failing. But anyways, let's go ahead and move forward and go to this next segment.
Nice. And I don't want to hear no red pillers ever talk to me about the importance of family creation and man and woman this. Y'all not for that lifestyle. Nothing about this movement is for that.
And I say it time and time and time again, as well as Alvin and Preach. But again, we just hating, right? We just hating.
And then also you have peace as well. Peace of mind, no arguments, no headaches.
Now, there's the thing too. Some of that is true. And that's where people get confused at because some of the things that they say are true and it is a fact. But then they backdoor and hit you with the LTG action. You know what I'm saying? You'll say something that's so right here, but so wrong over there. So it's hard to distinguish which is right and which is wrong from people who don't really know the difference.
Listen, I'm all for having a girlfriend or having a girl you care about or you love, but she can live her own crib, bro. Get her another crib if you need to.
So on that other one, that's cool. But when you say you get another one, you get her another one, that's an additional bill that's counterproductive. At that point, she might as well be there. That doesn't make any sense. So put her somewhere else that's going to essentially cost you anywhere from $18,000 to $20,000 a year. What kind of sense does that make?
Another apartment, live in your apartment, you guys come together whenever you're ready, travel, go out.
They will never follow that. What they're saying, all they've been saying, they don't even follow that stuff.
No.
The consistency's been the same. I say some shit that I don't even follow.
But we hating and we jealous, right? Yeah, we hating.
It's been like that. So what makes you think this is gonna be any different? Come on now, B.
They don't want this extra house because it helps them grind more. If this is all about productivity and this and that, okay, your girl's not around, perfect. Why is it y'all spend so much time banging other women?
See, I don't even think y'all was paying attention. He just hit you with a bar right there. A lot of y'all that went over your head. See, you so caught up in this hype that you literally, people telling you straight up and what's being said ain't making no sense. But see, you so stuck in your way of, I gotta do it and have the upper hand my way. Listen to what these dudes is telling you, right? And y'all come over here saying we mad or whatever. All right, bro, whatever. If the woman is the issue, right? Let's say the woman in your space is the issue. Why are you on a sugar baby site? Why are you always on a quote-unquote yacht hanging around all these women? Why are you constantly messing around with random women if women are the problem? That don't even make any sense. If you are lacking in productivity because a woman is around you, why are you surrounding yourself with women? Bruh, really? Just think about it. Take a moment, think about it. Remember, I'm the rational voice. I'm the guy in the middle. I'm the reality to the situation. You ain't gotta like it. I'll tell you what it is. You got a problem with it? I accept that. No problem. You can live in your delusion. But that right there don't make any sense. And if you allow people like this to direct your life and tell you where you need to be going and what you need to be doing when they've been proven fraud time and time again, that's on you, bro. Don't get on the internet crying, fussing about what went left when these are the people you listen to. They don't even live by what they talk about at all.
Why is it that y'all spend so much time whoring around? What happened to productivity?
When you live with your girl, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna start to inevitably become lazy, softer. Convenience breeds familiarity. Familiarity breeds contempt.
That's weak. That's weak behavior. As a man, bring your accountability. I tell you, you watch these men who are unaccountable. As a man, your choice to make that decision to say, I'm going to handle business or I'm not. It ain't got nothing to do with what doing. If you allow them to slow you from what you're supposed to be doing, then that's on you. You need to hold accountability for what you choose not to do. But instead, what we gonna do, push the blame on you because women around, and then like you get like complacent, and then you be like, well, bro, that don't make it work. No, that doesn't matter. That's because you're a man. If you truly a man and you got your business, it don't matter who they are. It is what it is. You gotta handle what you need to handle. But if you sit here and preach accountability, how hard you gonna work, you need to be just as hard on yourself. You ain't doing nothing to agree with a soft ass man. That's just the reality. You might not like that. Hey, I'm equal voice. I'm that voice on the side going wrong. It's okay. But you can't be kicking around.
Girls want a guy that they can't rein in, that they can't control, that is mysterious. And a big part of you being able to maintain that attraction is by you not being too available.
Man, listen. I think this is such evidence that these guys have never been in couple relationships. That's all I do.
What I know about is that the other day I was talking to you inside Hampton, from better. I was giving him tips on how to try. You know what I mean? Like, you got 4 other shit. This and that. I never driven one, but it doesn't matter. That's the
Right. I never been. I really never had the experience. I wouldn't know what it feels like to drive an F1. How am I gonna tell some people how to do it? Never. Like they never been. They can catch girls here and there. I'm paying for it. That's fine. Or whatever, the ones that they catch, they actually want something from them, money. You know what I mean? So it all comes to the same. But they never actually been in one, and that's what it sounds like.
And that's exactly my point. We're not going to drag this out. Now, I done told y'all once. I done told y'all twice. I done told you 3 to 4 times. I done had fraud alert. Cooley's ass got it too. But y'all, if you don't want to listen, it's on you. But say, when you sub to this channel and you're here, you're a person with rationale. You're a person of class. You know what I'm saying? You're part of the squad. I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you having common sense. Because keep in mind, your stupidity affects other people. And yeah, man, it's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate people are stupid out here. I'm just playing with you. Now, people dumb as hell. I'm not playing. People are stupid. But if you kicked it with your boy this long, I appreciate you hanging with me. Links in the description below, like always. And in the meanwhile, I'm out. Have a good one.
What really happened on that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death?
season on me. Sweet potato pie is good. Sometimes you gotta get up and eat it, cause it's good.
Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and you know, I've done a lot of GPU talk the last couple weeks, but to be fair with you, I really do enjoy talking about this topic because it all bleeds back into gaming, and one of the reasons that I'm really involved, which is seeing not just gaming grow, but Linux gaming grow. As you all know, I'm a huge fan of the old Penguin. Wife bought me this hoodie. I think I think she's personally getting annoyed that I keep talking about the Penguin as much as I do, but that's not the point, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I made a video a few days ago talking about, you know, me not supporting NVIDIA anymore. And the thing about it is I very much stand on principle for it. Now, the reality of why I would not support NVIDIA is because honestly, at least in my case, there is one other GPU vendor that is more supportive of my choice of operating system, which of course is Linux. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, if you buy an AMD GPU, the AMD drivers are typically built right into Linux. Meaning that if you download and install Linux, you know how much like you install Windows for the first time and your, monitor is all wonky? It's because there's no display driver, right? You gotta typically install from your vendor, whether that be NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, and then it all just fixes up. And this isn't a big deal, it's just something cute that I find in Linux where right out of the box, if you have the, Team Red hardware, it just all works without an issue. At least in my experience, okay? Obviously, not every computer is built the same. So in this situation, not only is the driver specifically built in, but there are devices like the Steam Deck, like the Legion Go, a lot of these handheld gaming PCs. Now, the reason why these handheld devices matter so much in the grand scheme of things is ultimately, if you always look into the commonality between them, they are powered usually by AMD or Intel grade hardware. In fact, when it comes to the actual Steam Deck, it's powered by the AMD Zen 2 CPU and the RDNA GPU, which of course, most of these devices are usually powered by something with this bracket in them. And the thing is, it's great to have AMD support because that means, genuinely speaking, when you use a Linux distribution with an AMD card, a lot of the games that typically, release day one, in my opinion, and experiences, do run better on AMD Radeon hardware because they've already received those GPU assists, those, software updates from developers, who are actually keeping these drivers up to date, versus NVIDIA, which does have a really, really good experience on Linux as well, too. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes a bit behind. That game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that I was playing on PC, that I was talking about, still, as of right now, doesn't function on my actual NVIDIA GPU in Linux. However, my AMD card does. And that's an AMD 6900 XT that is a couple of years old now, and it offers absolutely amazing performance on a game like that. So the reason why I said NVIDIA really needs some competition is obviously some of the things I got into my comment section was if I was going to even talk about the fact that some of the connectors on these new GPUs released by NVIDIA were actually burning up. And the thing about it is, this is not new. For anybody that actually bought like a 40 series card, specifically even like a 4090 card, there were talks way back years ago, was it worth it for, again, those cards having melting issues? So the reality of it is there's a new type of cable that was introduced in that generation known as the 12 VHPWR. So it's a smaller cable that, like, if you look closer into it, this is what it looks like as opposed to like the standard like 6-8-pin connectors that we used to have. And there was an issue with these connectors where like it was causing, if this was improperly connected into the device, the actual like connectors to start burning up. And of course, this is an issue that also started to permeate on the 5090s. So this cable issue, if you're watching channels like Durate Hour, actually did show like how hot some of these cables got and these connectors had received, to a point where apparently they were hitting temperatures of around 140 to 150 degrees Celsius, okay? To give you an idea of how hot that is, I believe 100 is boiling, so just 50 degrees above that, you can just imagine how that's not a safe situation to be in, right? Not just for your house, but also for the fact that your fucking thousands of dollars that you spent on a GPU, you're putting into some serious danger. And there was more investigations done by Jay's 2 Cents and a lot of the channels who actually ended up getting their hands on the cards that led to believe that it was more of NVIDIA's issue than it was the actual quote-unquote user's issue. I've even had talks with my team about possibly thinking of a class action legal situation for NVIDIA, because I really do think that this is a consumer issue where if you buy a super expensive graphics card for thousands of dollars, it shouldn't really come with issues that I believe the manufacturer, conveniently overlooks, because I personally think it happens from a place of no competition. Remember, there really isn't anybody in the space that is offering something on the same level as that RTX 5090. I would even say dare the RTX 5080 also falls out of the scope of their direct competitors, which for me, obviously as somebody switching to Team Red, is something I do care about. Like I said, for AMD stuff, generally speaking, since I'm a Linux user, the experience is much better. But I also do care about the raw performance of these systems. Now, the thing about GPUs is, like, at the end of all this, we could sit here and say that just raw performance is enough, but things like artificial intelligence, things like ray tracing are here. They're here to stay. They're actually a part of almost every single GPU vendor. It's just an unfortunate case that NVIDIA has such a severe advantage that for them, competition really isn't a thing. I mean, the last time I tried ray tracing a game on AMD hardware was my 6900 XT, and while the experience is okay, NVIDIA's experiences are generally better. Their technologies are more superior. And not only that, but NVIDIA is genuinely optimizing their hardware with better software. Like DLSS 4 is no joke. It makes any other upscaler look like an actual joke. When I look at things like DLSS frame generation, it's good. I may not be a fan, but it's probably the better frame generator out of the entire competitive suite. When I look at things like DLSS ray reconstruction, where you're getting better performance out of genuinely better looking rays. I mean, with the amount of RTX technologies that are made with optimizations for the hardware level, it's kind of hard to purchase anything else other than Team Green, especially when tons of video games, especially ones that are coming out, the biggest titles, support a lot of these technologies out of the box day one. It really feels like any other competitive technology, even though I like the openness of FSR, I really feel like it needs to be upgraded substantially in order to even be a possible option for a lot of people. Not just in the low end, not even just in the mid-range, but if these guys really want to compete, I think these technologies have to also appeal for anybody in the video gaming sphere, regardless of what side of the wallet or price bracket they land into. So why are we talking about this? Is this just me basically punishing myself for switching over and constantly trying to huff the copium? No, actually I've been following with what AMD is about to do, and there's been some leaks that have come out that I felt like were worth talking about, because honestly, it's probably the most exciting part of any GPU reveal is the actual leaks leading up to the thing. So AMD is basically on its way coming out with some form of an actual announcement sometime around, I would say February 28th, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're all going to be up bright and ready just to see this action go down. I might even live stream it, but I definitely will talk about it, especially if it's interesting. And it is going to be interesting. It could either be AMD shooting themselves in the fucking foot yet again, or it can be them seriously bringing the competition, which is desperately what this entire side of computer, computer electronics needs. It's much like gaming. Like Sony and Microsoft, I would consider are basically direct competitors. Nintendo is kind of in their own game, where they have an entire market that I feel is pretty much untouchable. Okay, Nintendo makes some of the best games in the market, and I feel like everyone just needlessly tries to emulate, and Nintendo just keeps going above and beyond. So they're in their own space. But when you got to deal with like your home actual console box, you really only have two options, Sony and Microsoft. So imagine if Sony just rests on their laurels and releases basically nothing worth buying, and tomorrow Microsoft comes and says, hey, we're going to release an Xbox that is decoupled from the internet, meaning that you own your actual software properly. We're going to actually release proper physical media. We're going to actually let you have more control of your Xbox, meaning you don't have to be using online services to, for instance, make a new account and do more things with your local hardware. I would immediately switch from Sony's PlayStation as a, primary console all the way over to Microsoft. Because ultimately that's what competition does. It constantly forces companies to basically be on the cutting edge. But when you've got a situation like NVIDIA and AMD and Intel, where NVIDIA is genuinely far ahead, where you can have controversy after controversy, the whole fake frames, the burning power cables, and still, there really isn't an option. It doesn't give NVIDIA a reason to really innovate out of it. If they aren't facing any repercussions, if they aren't facing any real threat from the other people in the market space, then realistically the only thing that the consumer can do is bitch and complain. And the thing is, with Intel, AMD, a lot of these guys are still playing catch up in other departments, or like ray tracing, for instance, which is basically NVIDIA's real bread and butter. Since they released that RTX series, they've basically been the leaders of ray tracing. So for anybody that doesn't know ray tracing, on Intel's website, this is a great comparison shot. So on a game known as RoboCop Rogue City, you can see that without ray tracing, the game looks okay. It looks decent. But for instance, the reflections on the ground definitely feel like there's something out of the PlayStation 4 era. But of course, if you fire on ray tracing, you'll start to see actual proper reflection. So for instance, the puddles on the ground are actually reflecting the world pretty well. Now they may not be reflecting the sky appropriately, but you see that sign is reflected on the ground. And of course, it's these actual graphical changes that when you add things like shadows, global illumination, different types of ray tracing technologies on top of each other, that's what changes a game that looks like it's from the PlayStation 4 generation to something that, you know, realistically wouldn't have been possible with graphics hardware of the past. Real-time ray tracing is sort of the one big thing NVIDIA has really brought into the game, and they are actually still the fucking leaders of. And basically everyone else, Intel, while they're decent, they're still behind AMD, which is still a generation behind NVIDIA. So realistically, you are dealing with, you know, again, hardware that is still yet to properly catch up. And there's really no level of software that any of these companies can write that will match their hardware to something as close as NVIDIA. And I know there's people that will say, but I don't use ray tracing, I turn all that off, which is fine. That's entirely up to you. That's the beauty of PC gaming. You can choose to modify your experience to however you want to cater it to, right? I turn it off depending on any game for better performance. But let's not forget, technologies like upscalers and AI and ray tracing, they're here. So instead of ignoring it and digging our head into the sand pretending they don't exist, it's actually imperative you try to at least compete in this space, and that's where the issue is, right? Like obviously a company like NVIDIA compared to its counterparts is significantly richer. For every dollar that AMD or Intel can put into research and development for this technology, NVIDIA can put in $100. And that is really one of the big problems, right? Like you really are unable to compete with a giant behemoth. For NVIDIA, it really, I don't even think matters if they're in the graphics card space. They're already doing a million other things. But for a company like AMD and Intel that are in the space, that do need to be selling GPUs, at least especially in AMD's case, because that's kind of a big, you know, size for that's a pretty big business. If you're not willing to compete at all in this space, or try to at least undercut, and I mean severely undercut your competition to even increase your market share, that is an issue. Like as somebody that's switching over to Team Red because of Linux compatibility, I do highly require AMD to be on a fighting front on Windows, especially just so we can actually have more future hardware from them, more future software from them. Because realistically, they're fighting fucking Goliath with basically nothing at this point. Now to give you guys an idea on graphic naming, this is the RTX 5070. Now, so when it comes to, again, purchasing a graphics card, a quick understanding is when you're buying an NVIDIA card, that 50 typically represents the series that you're buying. So 50 series, the 40 series, the 30 series, the 20, the 10, whatever. This number, the 70 or whatever that comes after, is typically what range of the card you're buying. So the 5090 is going to be your most expensive range, mostly for, you know, people that just have fuck you money to burn. Then you've got your 5080s, which is for people that don't buy the super top end, but they still want to have something for enthusiast grade products. I would say that the average consumer is going to be buying the RTX 5070. In fact, most people who just want to have a gaming rig buy a 70 series card, or the 70 version of whatever series card. Mostly because it's the more price-friendly card, and it's honestly a good card when you just want to play a video game on it, right? You don't really have to think about turning down as many settings, as long as you're playing the game at like 1080p or maybe 1440p. Now, of course, if you're going to like 4K and beyond, probably going to have to spend more money, but generally, if you have a rig capable for that, you're probably buying an 80 or 90 card anyways. Now, when you look at the price for this, the 5070 comes at $549. That's US pricing. $549. It's still more expensive than buying like a PlayStation or an Xbox Series X, or an S especially. But obviously, you know, when you look at how often people upgrade their GPUs, I believe experts pin it around somewhere around 3 to 5 years. Meaning that when you buy the 5070 right now, you're probably going to wait 3 at the minimum to 5 years to think of upgrading a GPU. But with how expensive things have gotten, there is no doubt that people are probably going to be spending more time upgrading because stretching every dollar really does matter at a time like this. And it's always mattered. I'm not saying that, you know, nobody has ever thought about optimizing their budget strategies before, but it's just nowadays when it comes to a leisurely activity like gaming, probably going to look for something that you can buy right now for value and seeing if you can ride it maybe 6-7 years down the road. Now that 70 Ti, which is a slightly stronger version, is $749. So realistically, AMD has to beat this price point in order to even be considered in the running race. Because even if you undercut these guys by like $50, because of the software that NVIDIA is writing, there's just no way people are going to go to Team Red, and therefore the whole, you know, promise of competition dies out. Now, of course, if AMD produces a similar quality of this card, maybe slightly less powerful, and they sell it for $50 less, maybe sure. But it doesn't seem like AMD is really going down that road yet either. Now, when it comes to AMD, this card, the RX 9070 XT, was basically leaked out, so I don't know how they do the naming for these things, to be honest. Usually it's the number here, the second digit that would be the denominator of like what, you know, the sub-series of the card it is, but I guess it's now the 9070. So they're trying to maybe copy NVIDIA here. But anyways, I was seeing like how they were building this, and this leak, I can confirm this is entirely real. But it is a 16 gigabyte something card, which definitely feels like, you know, something for the price point that you would probably be getting, pretty standard. And then, of course, they were even unboxing this as well. And it does seem to actually be the real card. It does seem to be the real actual AMD GPU. Now, again, this is a leak. I can't entirely confirm if this shit is entirely real whatsoever, but one thing that was super interesting on this box as well was that looking closer into it, it definitely did say that a supported operating system includes Linux, which I'm obviously happy whenever I see that because it means that, yes, you're directly actually putting it on the box, which means that, you know, for most average normies, they do actually kind of see that, hey, it's on the box. You know, Linux is a thing. It's not just Windows that you have to go to. Now, whether this thing is entirely real or not, I have really no idea whatsoever, but it's pretty close to launch, so I wouldn't be surprised if some scalper or somebody in the distribution chain picked this up. But then immediately afterwards, people started to look at price leaks. Now remember, price leaks are not entirely accurate prices whatsoever, okay? If I had $1 for every time a price leak on any piece of technology was fake, I would be a very, very wealthy man. But in this situation, one actual card that ended up coming out, that 9070 XT, it ended up being retailed for $849. Now, here's the problem, all right? I said NVIDIA needs competition. If this card is truly $849, that is definitely dead on arrival. If that is in US dollar pricing, converting it to Canadian rubles, you are looking at 1,204 Canadian dollars. Which again, comparing it to what price that NVIDIA has put their 5070 at, you might as well consider purchasing that RTX 5070. Because look, at the end of the day, while I might want to make a statement, for me, as a Linux user, Team Red is already where I want to be. But if you are somebody who genuinely wants to play, you know, or get the best bang for their buck, NVIDIA is still producing the better hardware for what appears to be the better cost. Now let's assume that this is actually Canadian prices to USD, then you're looking at $598 US, around $600, which again is still, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit overpriced than the NVIDIA stuff, or the comparative NVIDIA stuff right here, based on whatever comparisons that I'm seeing here. Now, like a lot of people who have basically been looking at this from the sidelines as me, you've pretty much all agreed that if this is the price point for whatever AMD wants to set their card at, then this is actually going to be dead on arrival. Like, I'm sorry to say, even as somebody that is a Linux user, and I believe the experience is better for Team Red, it's hard for me to even recommend to the average consumer, the person who's buying the card in a real-world scenario, to pick an inferior card for roughly the same price, right? Like, this card obviously from a performance standpoint is yet to be determined, but unless some point in like on the 28th of February, whenever this gets revealed, unless AMD somehow has like 11 magic rabbits inside a hat that they have like literally ready to go, it's going to be very difficult to see them competing even at a software level with NVIDIA. Like, if FSR 4 is as good as DLSS 4, I literally will rip my underwear off on camera and eat it in front of you, because I will be fucking shocked if that is the case. If somehow they're able to trace rays as efficiently as NVIDIA is, I will literally eat my own shit on I'm not going to say that, okay? Absolutely not. I'm not going to go do that. That would be insane. But you get the idea, right? So for me, when I'm looking at these cards, they have to be severely undercutting NVIDIA in order to even make some dent or gain in a market share. So yeah, legitimately, I wouldn't want to say that AMD is like the poor man's version of a GPU. But honestly, in a space like this, you have to really be bringing that competition, which I understand why it's difficult for companies like AMD and Intel to do, because NVIDIA is just so goddamn huge, and they continue to get larger. But this kind of scares me from a GPU vendor space where, like, when it comes to, again, buying a graphics card for a computer, it really feels like we're moving slowly towards one company having all the cards in their hand, and unfortunately, the other competitors not really being able to compete. I don't want a world where NVIDIA is the only player in town. I want there to actually be competition in this space. And while I'll personally be going to Team Red, I genuinely am really hoping that come the end of this month, they have some serious shit to show. Because if they're not willing to fight on the price, and they're not willing to fight on the hardware and software, this is truly AMD, once again, shooting themselves several times in the foot. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.
Of the conscious minds are getting hit fastest. They're going to cuss you out and call you a religious prick, even though you're only trying to save them. I know it's frustrating, but the wide road to destruction's made wide, while salvation's road is made slim. We're not called to be religious. Yahoo's word calls religious prayer vain and repetitious. I know the criticism's vicious, but we're gonna have our dirty souls washed and rinsed like some dirty dishes. We gotta show these people that The Crusades and Inquisition wasn't done by followers of the scripture. The word clearly says, thou shalt not kill, yet the word is blamed anyway. What's wrong with this picture? It's not the cookbook's fault if it tells me to cook lasagna, but I cook pizza with some turd stacks. So it's not the Torah/Bible's fault if I disobey it. I hope the atheists heard that. We truth finders gotta stop the inner-bickering and stick to spreading truth so that people can receive it. Cause it's satanic, Vatican claims that it follows scripture, but hypnotized people believe it. Fellow truth finders, you're not alone. You're not the only ones who know that the Messiah was not even crucified on a lowercase t, but actually a capital T. Y'all ain't the only ones who know that lowercase t is a pagan symbol. The son of King Nimrod, Tammuz, that's his symbol. It's not our Messiah symbol. There's literally pictures of him holding the lowercase t, shaped cross. Gotta look up the history.
Took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna! Blessed is the King of Yisrael that comes in the name of Yahuwah.
Rolling through Jerusalem, say we lame, but we don't move by them. Palm tree, dance hands up in the air, we ain't cool with them. America will do what they do, killing us for years what they do. Mashiach, ha, risen king hearing us too. What is lame? Mashiach healed them too. Repentance, you are food. Spiritual health is our proof. Not in word, but in power. Salvation in the hour 12 plus. It's more than me, I know it now. Ain't always to know when, even though we know how. Do what you can. Simple as flowing, deeper than knowing. And when you know, keep let it showing. Freely, let's go. Ha! Rolling through Jerusalem, say we lame, but we don't move by them. Palm tree, dance hands up in the air, we ain't cool with them. America will do what they do, killing us for years what they do. Mashiach, ha, risen king hearing us too. Give me the pain, I don't want attention, don't want the game, I don't want the fame. Looks weak, but don't want the sparing, don't want anything Satan daring. This is all for your cups to bearing. Some put it on that swearing, still suffering them curses, crying out in due service. Some asking, some leave with a blind fast like I'm not king. They didn't want to hear you, cause they didn't want to hear me. Show love, some will change, have a change of heart, no Noah's Ark. Back then it was water, but this time it's fire to the dark. Hosanna, 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 Hosanna.
Saki.